Welcome back to the Berlin Major, guys, here on the A stream with me, Des, and him, Tim, Ace of Wide Right, newly proclaimed, as we are about to get into our second game of this casting block. It's Elevate versus Astralis, game 6 of the day. Elevate, currently top of the pops, have not lost a single game. Astralis at the very bottom with just 2, Tim. This is their chance to bounce back. It feels like a now or never kind of thing. If you don't get anything from this game, suddenly you're starting to feel very out of the conversation.
Yeah, you're pretty much done at that point. You know, not completely, but it's certainly you're on that road.
Yeah.
I love a little bit of chaos. I'm going to back Astralis in this one. I'd love to see...
Move, Tim.
Greatness comes from chaos.
Thank you.
There we go. I'd honestly quite like to see an Astralis win now. We've made the jokes about NA. They've had a slightly better performance today. If Astralis get this win, don't get me wrong, I want to see a good performance from APAC as well for the whole tournament, Europe or APAC. Let's mix it up. Let's have a new region. But Astralis winning here really throws a spanner in the works of this group, and that I am living for coming into day 3.
For what looks so locked at the start of the day, and convincing, I'd say, as well, for teams like Elevate. But let's take a look at what map we're going to. A Villa to start things off, and the camera did the little movie thing as well. I love it. Going into Villa. Have we done Villa so far here?
Not in Berlin.
When in Berlin, go to Villa.
Go to Villa. When in Berlin, go to Tuscany.
Why not?
Don't. Berlin's quite nice.
It is nice. We're in
nice.
a really nice area as well.
I've enjoyed it.
Zero complaints at all about that. We will be going into game in just a second straight away, as we've said, the players are pretty much ready to go. So, how about we get started with Villa, Tim, and see how this one shakes down. Can Astralis battle their way back, or will Elevate, quite literally, elevate themselves to a spot in our playoffs? This win will guarantee them a place in Friday's quarterfinals, whereas for Astralis, it's all but a death sentence.
Oh boy, let's have some chaos. I'm ready for it. Like I said, coming into the M&M Furia game, it looked like this was, going to be sewn up, potentially, at the end of this. M&M have mixed that up to begin with, and then you've got Astralis coming in here who could, again, just double down on that, and all of a sudden those percentages that we've been looking at will change drastically. We're going to get the bands coming in now. Astralis take out Montagne to begin with. Not too much of a surprise. We know just how much the APAC region like their Monte. They like to play in behind those shields. So Astralis thinking, nope, we're not going to have any of that.
Finker being taken away. I feel this is a ban against every team because every team can play Finker. Every team knows how strong she is, and they'd rather to see her taken off the board and removed from the field. Does bring so much to the attacking side. Azami also being taken off the board here. We spoke about her a lot in our games earlier on today. One of those architects on the site that can transform an awful lot. Things like Mirror, like Castle, all the rest of it as well, also in there. Nice on production. Thank you very much. Last ban coming through, probably going to be something like a Valkyrie, I imagine. Maybe a Mirror creeps in, but it is indeed that Valkyrie from Astralis. So nothing overly unexpected or surprising there, Tim. Just really looking towards the Azami for me because I've seen her in a number of cases on this map used for things like getting the keeper barriers down around 90 to lock down 90 corridor, or inside the site itself in Aviator to have an angle to be able to challenge up towards top red without having to bring a shield. So you do lose a lot of options there by not having the Azami on side.
Right, completely the opposite of what I said on Theme Park in the last game. We're going to have Villa here where verticality is king. Almost the entirety of the floor on Villa can be opened up. And that's what we're going to see. So Astralis on the defense, you would expect them to, that's the strong starting side, but they're going to have to make sure when they're on these top floor sites, Aviator Games, Trophy Statuary, they're going to have to make sure that they are paying attention to the underneath as well. The Finker has gone, which will help, but you will still likely to see operators like Iana being brought in for those nades, playing underneath, get a cheap kill or two. That's what a lot of teams are going to look to do on Villa. It's going to be no different here, I wouldn't expect. So Astralis need to be aware of that.
Absolutely. And of course we are still going through this tech pause. I imagine we can jump back to player cams in a second. No, let's not do Hayas, please, Onigiri. I know what he's calling for. He's calling for chaos because greatness comes from chaos and all that good stuff. We mentioned it several times already, but we can see the players from where we are now. And if I peek down, I can see where the little troublemakers are. Onigiri, I see you down there. Little nightmare. And he is a nightmare both in and out the server. Very happy guy, though. Very positive.
I mean, we know the power that he's got inside of the server. We saw that in, in previous events where he's put down big numbers of kills. And, Elevate have been doing fantastically well so far. Absolutely flying here in Berlin. They've looked unstoppable.
I think
and
so,
not just down to Onagiri. You know, it's,
no.
it's a real team effort.
A lot of it's coming from the new boys as well. We spoke about like Mark, Mr. Punch as well. I started calling him Punch. I was like, look, it just feels far more easy just to say Punch. And Dev was like, no, it's Mr. Punch.
It's Mr. Punch
you must call him Mr. Punch. Maybe after this game I'll call him Lord Punch. I don't know. It depends how well he's going to play. But those two between them have brought an awful lot to this team and really put Elevate onto a new level. There's so many jokes about their name you can use here, about elevating into the quarters. All these new players have elevated this roster, and I'm just like, please, don't make it so easy.
I mean, you've just come in and you've burnt those bridges now.
I know. If I do it now...
What are we going to say for the rest of the cast?
The thing is, it's so obvious that I don't like using it. So that's why I'm trying to get it out now. If I say it now, then I won't say it later.
I'll repeat it.
You can do it all
4 or 5 times.
That's also
if
fine.
I know that you don't like it.
At least I'm not... No, because I don't want to do it myself. That's why. I'll be disappointed in myself. I'm allowed to be disappointed in you.
You constantly are.
Not in myself.
Ridiculous. We're going to get into...
I'm never disappointed in you, Tim.
I don't believe that for a second. We're going to
get... What would I ever be disappointed in you for? We're not getting back into anything, Tim. Don't try and do the caster thing. Let's have a little podcast for a minute again. Because we've done pretty well today on tech issues and tech pauses. We actually are on schedule.
It's been fantastic today. I've got to say, production, hats off to them. They've done a fantastic job today. And it's been a pleasure. It's been fantastic.
And it's also not been hot today. Well,
it's been less hot. It's still hot in Berlin, but it's been less hot.
Yeah, Parker was like a patron saint earlier. He came into the talent room and was like, open the windows. And the thing is, we didn't open the windows yesterday.
It sounds like a really obvious thing, like you didn't open the windows, but we did try.
God, these Brits not opening windows.
We did try.
We didn't open them because it was like 34 degrees.
We did open them and hot air came in.
Yeah, we opened them and about 2 seconds later immediately regretted that decision and then closed them and then closed the curtains and did not look at them again all day. But then Parker came in earlier like, why are the windows closed? I was like, I don't know. They've been closed ever since I came into the room. And he was like, well, I opened them earlier. It was really nice. He's like, just open it. So we opened the windows, and I was like, oh, my God. Transformational. We've done several things in our talent room. Here's the evolution of the green room, as they're called. They're called the green room. It's where talents sit when they're not in game. We had 2 massive TVs in there, one for A stream and one for B stream. We got rid of one because the room is quite small and it was far too hot. All the heat coming off the TV was too heavy.
And the screen was that big that with both streams up, it's absolutely fine.
Exactly, yeah. We've got like multi-twitch going. In case you didn't know about it, you can use multi-twitch to watch both the A stream and the B stream at the same time. It's very convenient, which is what we've got in the talent room. So you can be like us if you really want to be like us. And then we had 2 fans in there originally. Now we've got 3. Turns out our corridor is one of the only ones where the aircon is turned on at the minute as well, which is quite fun.
Yeah, it's like you said, we've evolved as we've gone over the day or two.
I haven't yet sweated today, which is great.
We've adapted, and today, yeah, absolutely, much more comfortable. So we are just working through a little bit of a tech issue for one of the players. I think everybody is still inside of the lobby, so hopefully that will be resolved
like, no, it's not a tech issue; it's tech issues.
Tech issues, okay.
Plural. Come on.
We will get those ironed out quickly. We had this at the beginning of one of the games earlier today, and it was dealt with pretty quick. So we'll get that done and we'll get in. For me, this just builds the tension on this game. Like I say, you can see there at the bottom. So now, with a regulation win for Astralis, they go up to a 31% chance. But I'm not saying the numbers are wrong, because I don't doubt for a second that they are absolutely right. But what I am saying is, with an Astralis straight win, regulation time, it puts them 2 points behind Furia. And whilst that will still be a 30% chance of them going through to the playoffs, they've still got games to win. Just, again, coming from traditional sports, watching them year after year after year after year and seeing how these things have a habit of happening, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest for Astralis to go on that run and get themselves through. And honestly, I think we could do with it. There's the potential for XSET now going through. It's looking good for them. Dan Wonkia beating NIP earlier did them a massive favour. They're going to be playing Rogue in the next game as well. So XSET have got a real opportunity. If we can get Astralis in a position where they go through, that's 2 from NA, and that's your quarter, really, isn't it? That's, if you're looking at 2 from each region, you've got your perfect even split in the quarterfinals. So if we can get 2 NA teams through, then they haven't underperformed.
Tim, I really admire your professionalism. I'm really embodying greatness comes from chaos.
You just want to dunk on NA.
No, I don't want to dunk on NA. No. I was going to talk some more crap about other things, like breaking the fourth wall that I really enjoy doing. You know what? We can't cast them tomorrow. I should share the line that Meepy told me over lunch.
Take it away from everybody so nobody can have it.
Absolutely. Scorched earth policy. We aren't casting them and can't use that line. No one else can either. So we were sat there, we were talking about Dan Wonkia not playing so well so far, and Meepy just pops up. Meepy's the coach of Rogue, by the way, former pro player. He just popped up and goes, Dan Wonkia, more like Dan Wonsia. And I was like, that is a zinger of a line. I'm going to use that. And he was like, I want full credit. So, Meepy, here is your credit, good sir. Fantastic line. I'm not casting Dan Wonkia, so I can't use it. However, that may well come back to bite me and you because they still have a chance of making it out of groups.
They do still have a chance.
What's the percentage?
Right, so I put a tweet out. I don't know the percentage, but what
Didn't Kota tweet it?
4%. Sorry, yes, Kota did tweet it.
It's the G2.
It's the G2,
lining
4%.
Can that now be a thing? Can we now say you've done a G2 if they make it out?
It was 4%. So what I did was I had a quick look into it, and I'm sure there are other routes. So again, please don't come for me and tell me how wrong I am because there's all these other...
Go for Tim.
Probably the most likely way of it happening where Dan Wonkia go through, and I'll keep it brief, you've got Rogue and Xset playing against each other. Whichever one of those wins, they just need them to beat NIP as well. So for argument's sake, say Rogue beat Xset in the game. They need Rogue to beat NIP. Damwon need to win both of their games tomorrow, which are against Rogue and Xset. And then whoever loses in Rogue and Xset, so in my scenario, Xset, would then need to go to overtime with NIP. So what happens then is Rogue top the group, Damwonkia finish on 9 points, but Xset, being now on 6 and losing the game today, losing the game against Damwonkia, would only be able to get a maximum of 8 because of the overtime with NIP, and NIP would be limited to 7 or 8 points because of that overtime and being beaten by Rogue. So Damwonkia could go through on 9 points by winning both of their games tomorrow if the winner of Rogue versus Xset beats NIP and the loser goes to overtime.
You are definitely that.
There you go.
The meme of the guy like pointing at the wall looking crazy, like this happens and that happens and this and that and that and this team loses here and that goes to overtime and this scoreline happens over there.
Trying to support my damn Wonkia.
Tim.
There's a lot of hopium.
There's a lot of hopium in that body right now.
There is a lot going on. But it could
showing. It is. Well, Tim, I've derailed a little mini podcast for long enough. Thanks for sticking with us on that one, guys. Hope we didn't bore you too much.
Team 1 did it in Mexico. They didn't lose the first 3 games as badly as Damwonkia. They had one go to overtime.
Yeah, Damwonkia got battered.
Yeah, well, it's more they had one go to an overtime loss.
Tim, can we please stop being professional and talk about the game
So they had 1 point
now,
more, did Team 1.
Yeah, this is so unprofessional.
And they fought back.
I can't believe you're derailing the cast.
Very siege
There's a
related.
game on the stream right now.
Cast it then.
Go ahead.
All yours.
That's what you paid for.
Are you not?
Yeah, I think.
Right.
I'll tell you in about 30 days' time. Let's get into it then. Here we go. Thanks for sticking with us through those tech pauses. We are now underway with round 1. Astralis on the defensive side. Mute, Mozzie, I'm looking at straight away, along with the Jaeger Wamai. Like peas in a pod, those two operator pairings. Really good for shutting down information and also catching out thrown utility or fired utility, such as Sophia's gadget. So I like the defensive lineup we're seeing coming out of Astralis. On the attacking side for Elevate, we saw 3 players coming on study side and 2 starting out towards the west. So you're not going to see much action around the bedroom side. Everything here should be starting on the south.
Bit of a mistake from DCH with his Twitch drone there, just driving straight into the radius of the mute jammer. I think he thought that he was probably far enough away, but given now that the mute drones have got the jump ability as well, not really an excuse. If you're right out at the edge of the circle, as long as you jump, you'll pretty much clear it anyway. You may lose a little bit of functionality whilst it goes through the range, but as long as it comes out of the other side, you should be fine. So yeah, a little bit of a giveaway there from him, but Elevate working their way in underneath as I suggested. There we go. I did talk about those vertical nades, and as if by magic, the first kill of the entire game is a vertical nade. Mr. Punch taking down Shuttle.
What you're going to be mindful of here, though, is Forest is the one charging down into the basement and looking to cause trouble. And worth referencing the players that I mentioned in our game earlier. Jane I know and Forrest are the 2 players that Fluke was saying to me has had a really good game already today. So keep an eye on those 2. We'll see if the others also step up around them, of course. But knowing how those 2 have played so far today, I'd be shocked if they don't have a good performance here too. Mark almost getting the chance at Forrest there, but he just turns around last second and dips out of dodge.
Astralis need to be thinking about that lower level here. As I've said, 1 vertical nade has already found a kill, and that's just going to continue for the next 6 rounds if they allow it to. So they need to be thinking about that lower floor, but that It's far too easy. Mr. Punch just walking into the fire there as DP Fire manages to find his first kill and a second. Great defense of the main stairs there. J9O getting involved on Onigiri.
Easy.
And it's falling apart very quickly for Elevate here. Astralis showing us the power that they can bring into the server with kill after kill after kill, and they find themselves now 3v1.
DP Fire barely had to move his feet there as well, just sat on those main stairs, making it look easy. The thing is, you saw members of Elevate looking kind of beyond him and looking up the stairs, and you might be wondering, well, why? He had a player off towards his left-hand side they were aiming for that they maybe droned or saw on a drone sat at the top of 90, for example. This player sat at the top. They didn't know DP Fire was only sat halfway up, so we got a couple of freebies off that basis alone, but Elevate have tried to push their way up main stairs in a bit of a messy fashion, so it's a good shutdown coming out of Astralis. Into those last 10 seconds, Sapper, who's had a phenomenal tournament so far and phenomenal stage for them back in Stage 2 in APAC South, not going to be able to get anything done. They take the time here to have a quick conversation and reset for round 2.
That's going to be Astralis taking the first round on defence. We would expect them to get a few defensive rounds on Villa. It would be a problem if they didn't. But the fashion in which they did it, I was a little bit surprised by Elevate. You know, as you said, there were reasons why they were peering around, why they weren't really looking at DP Fire particularly. But it's not unusual to be challenged from that position on the main stairs. You got to be aware of it. You can't ignore it like that, especially not two of them. Bit of a problem there for Elevate. They're going to need to sharpen up quickly if they don't want to get too far behind in this one, because Astralis will just keep going. Interestingly, Astralis, rather than go to Trophy Statuary as the secondary site, they're going to head down to Dining and Kitchen, one that we normally see as the tertiary, but it could well be just leaning into that point that I've mentioned and that was proven in the last round. You don't have to worry so much about those vertical nades here in Dining and Kitchen. You don't need to worry about the lower floor. Yes, they're going to have to pay attention upstairs and prevent the verticality coming down from above, but at least it stops those explosions beneath their feet.
I'm perplexed. If this is the lineup that we're going to see Elevate roll out with, I was going to say surely the Carly doesn't stick. Carly by herself is seem weird when Thatcher is open. To then see Mr. Punch go over towards Thatcher and see a Carly still on side, I was like, yeah, something is definitely not quite right here. There's no Bandit, there's no Kaid, for example. So Onigiri moving away, this makes far more sense. Quite a common pairing that we are seeing these days is that Thatcher with the Twitch. It gives you the backup call just in case you do lose the Thatcher or the Twitch. You've then got one other operator capable of helping you remove critical gadgets. So between the pair of them here, DCH and Mr. Punch, nothing really should be impeding them, whether that looks like the potential goo mines, whether it's going to be the mute jammers coming out. Potentially even the razor balloons can be found early and ahead of time.
Mark, once again spraying in through the windows. We saw him working at that angle last time around, didn't get any joy from it. Now then, Forest is in underneath in the basement, and I'm not sure that Elevate are aware of that. Sapper's going to be able to get one onto Iconic and then drop back down and trade it out. Shuttle manages to get him, but if it wasn't Shuttle, I think it was going to be Forest who was coming along through the basement. But without him getting the kill, it may well just leave him off the radar for longer here, Des.
I've not seen more focus inside a basement on this map in probably forever. You know, 2 or 3 players were dancing around down here for the longest time. Forest is still holding, so we challenge on towards the pantry window. But outside of that, it was Sapper getting straight inside and looking to cause a little bit of carnage from below up onto the top of red stairs that simply wasn't done.
It's the sledge that they've lost as well. A lot of the time we'll see teams try to get established in Master, Trophy, Statuary, Astro, get those angles opened up into sight. It's just not something that Elevate are really looking to work with too much at the minute. They do manage to find another kill though, this time onto Shuttle, leaving them in a 4 versus 3. DCH taking a lot of damage there. I'm not sure exactly where from, but ultimately Mr. Punch is able to close down Forest down in the basement. So Elevate looking pretty good for this attack. It's a little bit non-standard, it's a little bit unorthodox, but it's working for them. Whatever they are doing, the horizontal push particularly, they're now looking to pressure J9O above, because of course he could still play a spoiler from up there when they try and get the diffuser down, but that's going to be a freebie. DP Fire with a big double.
Fire's big. That's the kind of kills you want to find as well. Now, it's only brought it down to a 2 versus 2. When Elevate were in such a commanding position before, they can still look to press on. Onigiri missed the punch to the last 2 left standing. Onigiri yet to get involved in this game, but Mr. Punch has already found a couple of members of Astralis across these first 2 rounds. With 50 seconds still on the clock as well, there's still plenty of opportunity for Elevate to make this work.
There really is. Mr. Punch gets in there, he's going to get that diffuser picked up, just working away from where the vertical holes are being opened above by defenders. Going to have an opportunity to put the diffuser down. I don't think that there's much that Astralis are going to be able to do about this. They're going to have to focus on the retake. Mr. Punch is able to do that. He's going to stand right on top of that diffuser, which can be a bit of a risk sometimes, but it's Onigiri to get the first. Mr. Punch with the second, and a nice easy close out for Elevate. Better round from them.
I feel it was a bit of an overcommit maybe to the top floor there in the 2 versus 2 from Astralis. I think their assumption was, and you saw the timing of it, that they knew where the diffuser was. If they get the vertical control, Elevate would not be able to recover it. They'd be forced to go upstairs and fight them, and that's what they were hoping to bait. But Mr. Punch was a little bit too quick to the, dare I say, punch, Tim. Got the diffuser, gave them plenty of time to play around, and the vertical angles simply were not there for Astralis. Really good comeback from Elevate after DP Fire almost put them in the mud.
Going to be round number 3 then. This time we see maybe the more expected sight from Astralis. Going to be trophy and statuary. They've already got 1 win up in Aviator Games. This is largely a mirrored defence. You know, you worry about the push coming in from maps, from 90 corridor. Sometimes a little bit of pressure from Master. We've seen less and less of that. But I would expect to see that quad wall potentially being opened up, given that Mark has picked up the ace. And I'm sure that Astralis are going to have a plan in place to be able to clear that out. Now, interesting, they've left the 3rd panel of the 3 as a soft wall at the minute. I'm not sure if that angle is going to be opened up to allow them to fire on into the closet or not. To anybody who tries to come in through that window, you can get an angle through the 2 soft walls there. It looks like it is being cleared out now. We often see this played particularly well by G2. You'll have Alamau on the Azami just playing through that hole, using the Kiba barricades, and he can hold down Master for a long time. Astralis going to try to replicate that without the Azami, because of course she's banned out this time.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Punch starting up here. I already joked once about calling him Lord Punch if he carries on at the rate which has been going so far. Start at 3-1, dragging the team through. Not seeing the combo of the Thatcher plus the Kali this time, but you are seeing that Kali in isolation for Onigiri. So, always curious when we see this operator picked up. It's very rare we see it. I don't think we saw it at all in Stage 2 in EUL at the very least. A little bit in Stage 1, a couple of teams would try employing it. I want to say it was BDS that employed it against teams that were playing Clash, or it could have been the reverse. Teams were employing it against the Clash of Rafale on BDS, but it feels like that long ago now that I couldn't tell you. Zappa starts off shutting down the big man on the side of Astralis. DP Fire, who was 5-1, carried the majority, all but 2 of his team's kills going elsewhere. So he's off the round. Not a good look for Astralis.
Forest is playing this very aggressive by staying in closet here once that wall's been opened up, and that's exactly what's going to happen to you. Mark just has a look around the corner, says thank you very much. That's 5 versus 3, and Elevate have got themselves some good clearance going on now. They can get inside of Master, they can get into closet if they wish. Bathroom is theirs, and they can really start pushing forward from here. J90 is going to take some damage from his own team's gadget there as the Vulcan canister explodes at his feet, and Elevate now, they can take their time here. They've got half of the round. They've got, to a degree, some of the map control that they need, and they can start looking to pressure in towards Astro and site itself.
3 of them will try and stack up here as well. J90 finds one on the window as well. Even on a slither of HP, he wants this challenge. He wants to keep them at bay. But now the triple wall's being opened up. Probably some questions to ask about how much longer he can hold on for without having to give up his life. They've got 1 more still sat inside a bathroom, so it's a good bit of alignment. And that ping coming in, you can roll a drone through the drone hole here potentially and find the man inside a bathroom. Punch taking the direct route 101 in towards the bathroom itself. Finds himself 1. Iconic. Left in a 1 versus 2. Has no control of sight and no C4 in back pocket.
The big problem that they've got is Iconic has just got himself a kill onto DCH, so it means that they know exactly where he's coming from. Mr. Punch is low health though, so there's an opportunity here. Iconic, of course, has the high fire rate vector, but shut down with a beautiful pre-fire as he gets beaten to the Mr. Punch, comes around, gets the kill, and that is going to be the round for Elevate. 2-1 up now.
I mean, Punch and Mark in that round. Just swinging everything,
Yep.
No fear, vaulting into bathroom, the closing 1v1 there coming out. We saw Mark with that wicked shot down through the narrow angle. Just between the 2 of them doing lots of work. And to be fair, look, I'll be completely honest, I don't really get a chance to watch APAC South. When we cast EUL, APAC North, we tune into a little bit of NAL as well. You don't really get the time to watch everything going on the world over when it comes to Siege, right? There's a such thing as Siege exhaustion, it's going to happen. I haven't really had the chance to see Elevate. We've seen them a little bit at previous events. Everyone remembers Onigiri's kill record, for example. But it feels like they've kind of gone back into the workshop, retooled up here, and come back with 5 very capable members in what I've seen in just the first 3 rounds. You know, DCH is a name that we've seen around APAC for a long time before the split came through, for example. Zappa's a bit of a new, in fact, not a new face. We've seen Zappa around for a while as well. Punch and Mark definitely are new names, and Onigiri, we've all seen what he can do. it's one of those times where I start to get excited about a roster because it feels like all 5 members have massive impacts in these games. And just a reminder what we're playing for here, as you just saw on your screen, if Elevate win this game by any means, they are guaranteed for the quarterfinals and will be our first team to be so.
What a story that will be. Apex South coming through and really representing the region. Elevate have got, they've picked up a lot of fans as well along the way, Des. I think a lot of the neutrals really enjoying. Everybody loves an upset, don't they? I don't think it's, we say that it's a British thing, but I think everybody loves a good underdog win. And Elevate coming through, getting these wins. There's people really getting behind them, and that is not too much of a surprise at all, and it will continue now. Then. That is great from DCH.
I think I was going to say he's the only player I've seen so far be a little bit quiet, but that is max value from a Twitch drone. You've got rid of the mirror that was facing in towards Study. That normally is a massive impediment against attackers unless they can comfortably remove away the gadget being on the wall. And you're looking towards Selmas to do that. You might be able to still land it. There's also a mute jammer behind it as well. Again, you cannot really put a value on just how much damage he's done by removing out that mirror window. No one can now really play inside of Aviator comfortably. They'll have to play inside of Vault instead. Yeah,
big move from them. We're going to have J9O just looking to hold on to the trophy side. Quite often you'll get this on the attack. They look to move themselves through from that west side, get themselves in towards Map's door and push in to get the diffuser down from there. Onagiri is starting that process. He's going to put out the track stingers.
Loads of them.
That just tries to lock down the flank so that they can be secure, comfortable, that they can move forward from that position and start to extend into 90 corridor. The big fight comes here. Can they clear out J9O from underneath the default cam? That's the next thing they need to do. There's also one on red stairs. Now then, that is the man from red stairs heading downstairs using the nitro, nearly picking up on Agiri and coming back for another fight here. Shuttle, he's just going to keep causing a nuisance if he can.
I don't think he thought. I thought for a second he hadn't fully shot out the tracks. No, he hasn't. They're still going as well. So Shuttle has got to step over those in order to get back on the upstairs. Onagiri, no doubt aware of his presence, though, and at least still alive for now with those 2 smokes in back pocket. In fact, across the team, there are 4 smokes, but Zappa coming in from below, going to find his man. Shuttle getting pinched on by the members of Elevate. Great start to the round.
It's been far too easy for Zappa to be picking up those opening kills. 4 rounds, 4 opening kills to Elevate, 3 of them to Zappa. He's just been catching them off guard time after time after time, and it's fantastic. It shows that Elevate have got a great awareness of what's going on in the map and where they can move through. That was with Forest on the underneath as well, that Zappa was able to just walk in there and get the kill. They can't allow that to happen, Astralis.
We saw it in the Furia game as well, where Handy let Tyrant through on the Nook, got a couple of kills as he pushed in towards site. It feels much the same where Forest is kind of dancing around a spot that he needs to be in. Here he comes on potentially a big flank though. There's a lot of tracks to get through, but he has opened up a path on the way back. However, elsewhere towards the site itself, DCH brings down J9O.
They're fully aware though. Look at this from Elevate, Des. The awareness is fantastic. Those track stingers doing their job, but we now find ourselves in a 2v1 as Astralis are able to find a couple of gunfights along the way, and that is exactly what they needed. DCH taking a ton of damage there. He's trying to work with the pistol. Time is ticking by, and Iconic peeks around the corner, finds the final kill, and that, let me tell you, is Astralis snatching a round that I don't think they should have won. Elevate were aware that Forest was on the flank. They lost the gunfights in trying to peek him, and that was the problem. It then fell apart. As that happened, Forest gets 1 kill, and Iconic takes the perfect moment to peek on the other side and get his kills while the attention is being drawn away, which is part of what a flank is trying to do, and it was well worked from Astralis. 2-2.
A tough situation to be in is Elevate there. You ignore the flanker, he potentially stops you getting the plant down in the first place. You go after him, you run out of time, and it just happened to be the diffuser carrier that lost out in the initial gunfight against the mirror. So full credit to Forest there. A lot of work being done on that late flank that we kind of worried about on the downstairs. He wasn't having an impact. He had max impact in the close of that round. So really smart decision making and timing on his side. For Elevate, it was one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. They made the wrong call. It happens.
Going to be moving on to dining and kitchen once again. We saw this back in round number 2, and it was an Elevate win. So Astralis are going to have to show us something a little bit different here. There wasn't too much attention to the top floor from Elevate. If anything, we felt that Astralis actually overinvested in the top floor when they found themselves in a 2v2 situation, because they didn't have the preparation in place to allow them to deny the plant from going down. So it was problematic for them to just try and sit up there, and that is what cost them ultimately. This time we'll see whether Elevate go direct to site once again, or whether they try to work those vertical angles. They lost the sledge early last time. They haven't even brought one this time.
However, that shield I'm seeing inside of Laundry just kind of speaks to, we don't want this to be a rapid entry point here. We've got the I guess I'm kind of concerned about it, because I just think here a couple of throwables or nades coming through, and that's cleared out. The difference being with the wall being left soft, at least they have the ability to challenge down low, rather than completely conceding laundry over. So I like at least that Astralis are doing something a bit different to what teams would normally do, which is play no one inside the room itself. Here they have the ability to do that, as they can get back through the rotate. That said, I don't quite think the rotate is big enough to be able to get through at the moment. It's a bit strange.
There's a little bit. The Thatcher EMP is going to go in, just try to not clear out some electronics, but it's going to at least disable them. Very close there. Nitro comes out, going to be shot out on the floor without doing any damage. Shuttle still roaming around with the pulse. Astralis making that adaptation, deciding that they need a little bit more information here. So, of course, he's going to be picking up anybody on that heartbeat sensor that he can, feeding that information back into his team. As you can see, he's playing in and around that pantry area. He knows that's where a lot of the pressure came in last time. Now then, Elevate have gone for the top floor control this time. They have got it, but they're limited in how much vertical destruction they can do. They've used a couple of explosives from Zafir. They do have the Rotero drones. Yep. They can potentially use those as well, but not quite as free as you would be with the sledge.
No. Feels like almost here they haven't quite come equipped for the task at hand. Time will tell. Maybe you would have seen something like the Breacher and Charges coming through from the Zofia rather than the Claymores. But I think the respect being shown with things like the Gridlock, the 6 Claymores in back pocket, Elevate are giving a lot of respect over to the Astralis side. Maybe a little bit too much there, out of fear of the flanks that might come through.
Again, Elevate just struggling to get themselves established inside of the site here, or anywhere near it, really. They haven't dealt with Iconic yet. They've still got Shuttle feeding information. The verticals aren't really paying them any dividends at the minute. The Rotero looking to go in and just clear out a little bit of utility near Memorial there, but still 5v5, no kills for Elevate, and they're going to have to just take a chance here. They're going to have to try and push in and see if they can win these gunfights. It didn't pan out for them in the last round, and it's not looking good here, as Forest manages to find the first onto Onagiri. The Nitro fails. Mr. Punch is the one who gets the kill onto Shuttle, leaving us 4v4, 20 seconds to go. I
think that pulse being on is a big deal here, because now a lot of this last 30-second information game has been taken away from Astralis. Great kill coming out from Mr. Punch as we step into that 4v4. Sapper comes up and finds DP Fire. One comes back the other way in a trade as Iconic starts to really elevate things up a bit here. A 3v2, time can close out. Iconic finds a double and J90 closes things out. It started to warm up a little bit for Elevate there in the last 30, but Astralis hold firm.
Good time for Astralis to get the lead, 3-2. Continuing on the defence, they've got one more round here, and they're going to be looking for that 4-2 half. I think they'll be disappointed if they don't get it. But again, full 3 points is what they are going to be chasing, and if they do that, it leaves them only 2 points behind Furia, I believe, and really in the chase for that position in the quarterfinals on the last day, which will come tomorrow. Last day of the group stages tomorrow, where all these decisions that we keep talking about are ultimately going to be made. Elevate, they don't want to be in that mix. They want to get this done here and now, but there is going to be work for them to do. We're going to see a trophy statuary hold coming out of Astralis to finish things off here. They weren't successful last time they tried to hold this down. It looks like we're going to have Shuttle playing underneath. He's just going to be placing the mute jammers to prevent the information from just pinpoint locating him, and he's going to be there to prevent those vertical nades. We've only seen one used so far, which is interesting. Mr. Punch with a successful one. It was the opening kill of the entire thing, but ultimately not something they've really used too much, and I think they might see that used against them a lot more when Astralis get onto their side.
Absolutely, but time will tell when we get to that point. For here, at least, it's about Astralis trying to get a little bit of a gap between them and Elevate. I feel if this half goes 3-3, Elevate will really fancy their chances in the second half. If it goes 4-2, well, there's a little bit more work to be done. Now, DCH, no doubt, his ears are pricking up at this point, Tim. He's heard there's a mirror window being deployed. Those shock drones are going to be on Route 101 to try and find themselves a spot straight in to get rid of those mirror windows. We've seen it several times over already. For now, at least, taking things nice and slow.
The thing is that the increase in the range of the shock darts...
Unlimited range
has really done a job for those Twitch drones. You know, you don't have to risk getting them right around the feet of the mirror anymore. You can get them in a position a couple of rooms away and potentially take out that canister if your aim is good enough, and that's probably what DCH is going to be looking to do. For the time being, Elevate are looking to much more quickly than previous get themselves inside of the map here and start putting pressure directly onto site. They're looking for Closet, they're looking for Master, they just want to get themselves involved.
It's very normal for them on their attacks to start up here with all players basically up on the balcony. We've seen it in a couple of the rounds now where Master is the big focus, but rather than getting choked out trying to push in through single doorways, they get away with it. What a great little drop down as well from DCH. I told you, Tim. His ears pricked up, and it was a wonderful shock drone use case there to get it up on the roof, down through the skylight, and to collect that mirror window.
DP Fire is going to find the Nitro onto Onagiri, who has been quiet so far, and it is making the difference for this for this Elevate roster. They are struggling a little bit. They've got contributions coming in from elsewhere, but I don't think that Sapper sees the man below him there. Obviously, we have the pleasure of the outlines, which makes our lives a lot easier than theirs, but that is going to be Astralis now. 5 versus 4, holding on to site. 1 minute 10 left to go, and Elevate feel like they've stalled out a little bit in this round.
Just a smidge. I think losing your one man to a C4, that's a lot of soft breach being taken away as well. It does hurt a little bit. You haven't got the sledge on side, no buck, for example. Not really much of a killer given the side that we are playing on, but there's work they can do here to get themselves moving through. DCH finding out DP Fire on the downstairs. He was one of their disruptors by the looks of it as he tries to pull his way back up. A very commanding position for DCH to be in, but he's got to make things happen, but Shuttle shuts him down. That could be it at this point. Sapper gets one back, but they've still got more to go. A 2v2, Tim.
Elevate just keep fighting, don't they? They don't really know when they're beaten. 2v4 becomes 2v2. We've got Mark and Sapper, two of the people that have been finding the kills so far, particularly in those important moments. Mark a little bit more limited than Sapper, but they've certainly got the firepower between them. J90 just holding a tight angle. He's going to go on the flank here. He might just well move on to the far side, but Sapper's well aware. He's going to use that gap, but J90 hits it on the reverse. Mark and Sapper, though, close it out. Comes off the diffuser, finds that final kill. What a round for Elevate.
Big round overall. Yeah, it came down to the wire. Did come down to that 2 versus 2. But ultimately, as we've already seen Elevate do in this game, they're good at winning out in those identical number situations when you get into the last 30 or so seconds of the game. Another really well-played round by them, and that's a level of composure that I actually feel many top teams at this competition don't have. Being able to kind of pause, evaluate the situation, communicate a plan, pull it off, and have good cover. I know he died, but it enabled the trade immediately coming out of Mark on the other side. So again, just good team play coming out from Elevate, even in those really kind of precarious situations.
Right, Elevate, now is your opportunity to show that you can do better. We move into the second half. Elevate go on to the defence. 3-3 was the split for Astralis, and Elevate are going to be looking for better. First 2 rounds for me are going to be particularly important. AVG and Trophy Statuary likely to be the first 2 sites, and if Elevate can get defensive wins on both of those, it leaves them 5-3 and looking comfortable to take a full 3 points here. But Astralis, I'm sure they're going to try to do something about that. Just looking at the lineup that we've got from Astralis, we don't have any nades on side, so there's going to be no vertical play. But interestingly, we've got 3 sets. There's 3 sets of soft breach utility, as well as Ash and Zofia.
Reasonable. It was the sort of thing we caught on with Elevate in the first half that they kept on missing out on, was having a Zofia whose impacts were used downwards really to clear things up or to open up certain areas of the map, whereas normally you look towards, again, things like a buck, a sledge, or the breaching rounds when attacking downstairs. But they've come prepared. It's the only way I can think about this, Tim. For this site, is it what they need? Maybe not. Maybe not 6 of them at this point. It feels a bit excessive, or 9, sorry, I suppose I should say. No, I looked at the 2 and was like, oh, there's only 6, but no, 9, of course.
This is it. I don't know where all that utility is going to be used. But it's not going to matter when Forrest goes in and keeps doming people like that. A nice double from him. Sapper does manage to get J90 and keeps Elevate in this. How many times am I going to say that about Sapper? It's 4 versus 3. Astralis within the first minute here are moving well. Forrest, he's got the clearance underneath and can look to start pressuring main stairs.
So at this point, it's balanced out in Astralis' favour. A little bit of madness in the first 60. I really thought he was going to fall off the roof then for a second when he cancelled that rappel. But back on it again now and moving his way downwards. So a good split coming out from Astralis. It's the kind of thing I've seen from a few teams, and it makes me a little bit nervous. Oxygen were very similar on this map as well, where they had such confidence in the individuals that they were like, hey, we can all just go and push completely separate here. We haven't got to worry about trying to play for trades. I'm just nervous that Sapper, for example, will dome 2 or 3 of you in 1v1s and you'll be kicking yourselves.
DCH still holding on to the main stairs. I don't think that Astralis are going to make the same mistake that Elevate did when attacking that area. And they're not going to give him 3 kills, as DP Fire managed to get a double when he was in that position. But right now, Elevate are pretty comfortable inside a site. Astralis not really moving them around here. To say that they've got the man advantage, they're not disrupting what Elevate want to do. They're not forcing anybody out of position. Come on, you know that DCH is playing there. He manages to get 1, but is shut down in a trade as Forrest pushes in. It's all up to Mr. Punch in a 1v2. 55 seconds left to go. He's going to go hunting into Study here. Now he knows there's one out on the balcony. There's been the red ping, but Iconic is long gone. Forest, he's going to seek and search and see if he can find Mr. Punch inside the site, but for the time being, he just needs to let Iconic relocate. He needs to get him on board, and this could be a problem with constant red pings coming out. Mr. Punch has got an opportunity for one, for two, and that is the knockout punch as Elevate find their first successful defense.
Well, now we can call him Lord Punch, Tim. What a play! I was going to say, that's the kind of guy that you want in that situation. Him or Sapper or even Mark. Given how they've played this whole map, those are the players you want in a big clutch situation. And once again, you've got Elevate players showing when it comes down to the last 30 seconds and all things are equal or your backs are against the wall, they can stand up firm. Astralis will kick themselves a little bit. They'll say that should be a round that we should have had done. We had the numbers advantage. It was all going in our favor, but just couldn't quite close it out.
I feel like it was a little bit weak from Astralis there. Both pushing into 90 corridor together is a little bit of a problem for a number of reasons, because Mr. Punch, as you see, he has the feet holes that look into the corridor at the bottom of the wall. He can play at a distance from that, whereby he can get a little bit of information. He can see the pixels of the feet, he can see the shoes, he's got the red pings coming in. Astralis were playing completely blind into that. That's why you play those feet holes. If you see somebody opening up in ranked and you wonder what's going on, why are they doing it, why are they leaving the wall soft, it's because from inside of the corridor, the angle is such that unless somebody stood right on that wall, you can't see them. You can't see through those holes. So it was a real advantageous position for Mr. Punch there, and he used it fantastically well. Astralis, it's difficult to criticise because lots of things can happen. Would I prefer to see one push into Study and one push 90 corridor, do it at a combined time so that they can work in and challenge from opposite directions? Yes, I think I would. It's not to say that Mr. Punch doesn't win the situation. They might get killed as they walk into Study. He might be peeking the door. Yes, there's lots of things that could happen. But I just feel like when you both walk into the corridor like that, you're asking for exactly what you got, which is him to peek the door, gets one, gets two, and it is as quick as that.
Probably just scared of exactly how much knowledge they had around the map as well. Didn't know if 90 was clear, if it was top red, for example, so what they had, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Still Punch coming out with a big clutch. Almost goes out in this round as well. Is at 8-4, but is now down to about 5 HP, with Onigiri also going down to the other side. So not the best start to the round for Elevate. Astralis starting to warm up a little bit here. Forest on the Nook as well. Both nades already consumed. He's now going hunting.
He is working from underneath. DP Fire manages to find Mr. Punch. That's a big kill. He's been very influential so far, as you can see from his numbers, and getting him off the board is going to be a big step in winning any of these rounds here. 5 versus 3, but let's not forget, Elevate have shown the ability to still win these rounds. It was like this last time around. They still came back from it, still got the win. So 5 versus 3 Astralis this time. You can't make the same mistakes. You've got to get applying pressure to site. 4 versus 3, this is what happens. And then they start chipping away at them, do Elevate. Mark manages to get the first kill, and that leaves them now one step closer.
He's going to follow on sprint here as well. Probably not aware that Forest is inside a kitchen. Instead, he's going to get his way back up to join his team at this point, I imagine. You've got you on, get back towards site and really help hold down the fort. Shuttle now, looking to work his way forward. They know the nades come through, which only tells you exactly what you want to know, that there is a player coming from that direction. Mark finds a second before he finally gets shut down, but his work is almost done. Sapper not quite looking the right way. DCH to hold against 3. Can Elevate clutch once again?
Diffuse is going to be going down here. Shuttle is putting it, and then as soon as DCH comes around the corner, Jen I know has got it covered. The cover for the diffuser plant was fantastic there, in place, both directions. There was nobody getting anywhere near it, and that is going to close the round out. Astralis level things up again, 4-4, and this one just feels like it's got a little bit of additional time written all over it, does.
It could be building up towards that point. I want to see a couple more rounds, really, to get a gist for which way this is going, because we spoke in the first half about the attacker-defender split. We had that 3-3. We were nervous Astralis might pull ahead to 4-2. Instead, we did see the 3-3 and now 1 round apiece. Trophy and Statuary going to be once again the side that we're stepping into. For Elevate, I feel getting picked off in the early round there. Punch maybe a little bit too mobile in his roam towards the south. It was great pinching capability being shown by Astralis. You had DP Fire on the kind of piano window facing off down red corridor that got themselves a freebie below. And it was a similar story in the earlier round onto Mr. Punch being taken down super low and eventually finished off. So a bit more caution shown by Elevate. I do want to see them keep on roaming. I always talk about wanting to extend and control as much of the map as possible. Just don't do it in a way that makes it relatively easy for Astralis to get the pinch onto you.
10 seconds to go.
Bit of a setup on the trophy door there. We see they've got ADSs. There was a Banshee as well, I think, if I'm correct. And it's just looking to stop any push coming in from the top of red stairs. Yes, there is. So they're expecting a little bit of pressure from top red, from maps, and across from that side of the map. We can see a little bit of utility expended over there as well. Missed the punch in position. Something that Elevate have done pretty well, I think, is to spread out from site. They're not just sitting completely on site. They're thinking about the areas that Astralis want to take control of and how do we prevent that. But at the minute, they're just losing out on a couple of gunfights, which is allowing Astralis that opportunity to get in and get a job done.
See those drones just running around on the ground floor as well. The Twitch drone that was running down red corridor. Probably hunting out those default cams, at least for now, but you're eyeing up the prize here. The key bits of utility you really want gone, namely those mute jammers and the ADSs. Run straight into a jammer there, a bit of a kicker.
Seen this happen a couple of times. It was a bulletproof cam, actually. Thank you, medics, just spotting that one out.
It did look a bit strange. We didn't see the blur.
It wasn't quite exactly the same. It wasn't quite the same animation as you get from the mute jammer. It was just one of those EMP blasts, so it will come back online. But of course, you know, if it's not moved, it is the potential that that will continue to happen. Like you say, he may well have popped out and then just taken the opportunity to clear it off the board as well. Now, Forest continuing to move underneath, has the knock, so there is a possibility there for those vertical nades, but going to need some information to support. It's going to be Iconic trying to go in. Twitch drone gone once again and pulling out the nades. Now then, I was going to say, it looks like there's a bit of information, but it's just not current enough for him. Sapper's moved away. Onagiri's going to take some damage. Halfway mark, 5 versus 5, but Astralis not really in possession of enough of the map yet.
Just poking and testing, it feels like, for the most part, right? Having to go through both smokes here as well just to get rid of the laser gates, immediately met by a smoke canister coming out from Zappa. But yeah, for Elevate, this is better, I think, overall. They've done a bit of work, they've wasted a bit of time, they've burnt through most of the utility in the back pockets. The 2 frag grenades in the back of Forest, for example. The shock drones are now gone. They've done good work and they haven't lost anybody, so it's a pretty successful, dare I say, roam overall. Mark's still looking to challenge here and loses his life, so a bit over-aggressive in the close. A couple of trades coming back through, though, make it 3. DCH finds 2. Forest gets 1 back the other way. This could come down to a 1v1 as Onagiri is on the deck. It's Forest versus DCH for round 9.
One big difference here, and that is that Forest is on about 5 to 10 HP. DCH has got a full complement, and that is going to make his life a lot easier. Forest, he's also working against the clock. 35 seconds left to go. Diffuser down on the ground. He needs to be thinking about kills here. He's going to use that hell presence reduction, but it doesn't matter because DCH just steps up, knows exactly where the knock is, manages to find that kill, and that is Elevate once again. The lead just bouncing back and forth. At the minute, it's 5-4 now.
And the thing is, Tim, again, I know exactly what Astralis will say after this game if they come away losing it, or even win it, to be fair. They'll say, should have been a better game from us, 3 or 4 clutch rounds that we lost. Because that, again, is another round where it's come down to a 1v1 or a 1vx for a member of Elevate, and they've won it out. I'm not saying Elevate are playing badly as a result of that. I'm just saying this game is coming down to a matter of fine margins. It is far from clear-cut round to round. It's very kind of grey until we get towards those last 10 seconds where ultimately it gets decided. And I love that. I love how close the game is.
Oh, it's been a brilliant game. Really enjoyed this one. You know, it's some great siege that we've seen from both sides. And yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. There's a lot on the line. Like you say, Elevate in a position to potentially put themselves into the quarterfinals. You've got Astralis fighting to get within touching distance of Furia. It really is all there to be done for both of them. But how do Astralis change things up here? That's always got to be the question. They've had the tactical timeout. What do they say to themselves here? How do they go on and look to win this? For me, I think they could work together as a team a little bit better than they have. You know, I go back to the example of the 2 of them pushing into 90 corridor. I think they've given a couple of situations, like you say, those clutch rounds, where they've really had decent opportunities to get it done. They've sort of given them away a little bit by not working, not creating a crossfire, not just taking that extra 5 or 10 seconds to squeeze the maximum advantage out of the situation.
I love this, Mark. We've all been there. Just trying to find the exact table to place that down, the exact spot to place that down on the table, sorry. No, I agree with you as well. I think a lot of it is that Elevate sort of adapted a bit and went a bit softer in terms of their early aggression. The one round where you saw them trying to be a bit too cheeky in the early round, they got absolutely shut out of it by Astralis early on. But in the other 2 rounds, they were a little more passive, still holding areas of the map and being a kind of resistance force against Astralis trying to take map control, but weren't looking for gunfights from second one. That's what I think Astralis are looking to try and do now, is to make sure they can pinch onto those members that are holding the more aggressive spots and either force them back faster or catch them before they can get on the retreat.
Good start there for Astralis, just managing to take some damage onto Onigiri, who has been super quiet so far this game. 3 and 7, not really been able to make too much of an impression upon it. We know that he's got the ability to always have those explosive moments, but right now Astralis have got themselves set up around the south side, looking to get themselves inside a study. J9O's on the drones here, just feeding information into the 2 that are working to get those walls opened up and make life difficult for the defenders inside a site. But meanwhile, DP Fire, he's off on the other side, looking to get into Trophy Statuary. Forrest is going to join him with a push, sort of half join him on the 90 window, and that's just trying to support. Once he does get inside the map, it allows his movement to continue.
Bit of a rotation away, and I like this from teams when they kind of acknowledge, okay, time to try a different tack here. Getting a little bit stuck on the 1 point to push in, so try and find another angle through. It's Shuttle rotating all the way up towards the top side. And these vertical nades that we saw Mr. Punch shooting in the first half are now going to start coming back the other way. Return to sender. Sapper gets chipped out. Iconic also droning him out there and saying, yep, that was well placed, but not quite finding your man. J9O still has 1 in back pocket, and I imagine wants to square up to find another, but it's him versus DCH here on the main stairs.
Now then, they've got to deal with DCH better than they have done previously. I commented on this, they knew exactly where he was playing. That's what we needed from Astralis. J9O goes in, gets aggressive, gets the kill, clears off main stairs, and that now allows them to start building something. They can get into study des, they can start pressuring this site.
Drones are flying absolutely everywhere as well, no matter where Astralis seems to step, or Elevate for that matter. There is always a drone lurking around, but here comes Mark stepping out, and they've got no idea. Freebie almost flicks for the second, but J9O gets the shut down and keeps Astralis in control of the round. But Tim, for how long?
A big mistake allowing Mark to get that kill, but at least it was rectified with the immediate trade, and they're working together better as a team, as I said, coming in, having the ability to impact on each other's deaths. Now then, Ace is going to be opening up the wall with the Selma charge. Sapper forced out of the vault here, now getting into dangerous positions in and around maps. He knows that he's got players on both sides of him potentially, but Mr. Punch takes the initiative, steps out of sight, gets one onto Shuttle, 3v3, 30 seconds left to go. Iconic's left to rush into Shuttle, gets shut down, but DP Fire onto Onigiri. This is a bloodbath right now, going in both directions. Astralis just need to work together. 2v1, 15 seconds, take a breath and guarantee this final kill. It's Sapper, he's had a great game so far, but it's going to be a big ask for him to hold on here. He's trying to stop it from the map's door, but that was better from Astralis. They took the time, they separated, they worked together, and they had both angles covered. They were looking in towards Bomb Chassis and looking into study. There was nowhere that Sapper could go.
And they'll be happy, Tim, because they won one of those clutch situations. It was another 2v2, but this time they're the ones who walk away with the match point. Well, not the match point, the round point. We're still sat at 5 and 5. We're guaranteed to see all 12 rounds of regulation at the very least, but I get a real sense that this one is going to overtime.
It certainly feels that way. Neither of them able to win 2 consecutive rounds for a little while. It was back in round...
Then, Tim.
Sorry?
It's like a pigeon.
Did I sound like a...
Don't tell Rogue.
I'm a man of many talents.
They've been running around in the hotel just going... I don't know why they do it. Rogue, like Tristan and Leon especially, absolute nightmares for it.
Who knows?
You can join in the pigeon gang.
We'll have to ask them. I'll just start running around the hotel. Round 6 and 7 were the last time that we saw either of these two teams able to get back-to-back rounds, but it was at a position where Elevate still didn't really get themselves more than 1 round of an advantage. It went from 3-2 down to 4-3 up, so it's always within touching distance between the two of them, and then it's been back and forward ever since. That pattern would suggest that Elevate have potentially got a round win in them here, but it is going to be back to Aviator Games, which we would consider as being the primary site choice, so that really does play into the wheelhouse. They lost it in the last round. Can they get it over the line this time? Astralis seem to have a better handle on the attack.
Everyone's probably looking at that cat cam just thinking, what a strange thing to do to place one explosive on either side of the door. almost like you assume they'll clear out one and then the second one will catch them out. And I forget which player it was yesterday that ran head first into, I think it was from FaZe. Cyber ran into a double Capcan trap on Theme Park and died to it. We're like, oh, well, there's the exact proof point of why you want to bring a Capcan. If players aren't paying attention, if they aren't droning out fully and giving extra detail to every single doorway, you can get caught out by those Capcan traps.
Mr. Punch is just keeping himself really tight on that wall. Nitro goes out, not going to do any damage, but
Gets
does
Forest
manage
anyway.
to get the kill
Wow.
onto Forest. Iconic does get DCH though, so the damage is done, but it's limited at least. J9O, DP Fire going big. Astralis pushing in, but getting over aggressive as Mr. Punch steps up onto the door, gets one, but shut down in a trade, and Astralis are really putting their foot down here as they power through into a 6-5 lead and get that opportunity. Iconic bringing the energy that Astralis need. We've said that they've been a little bit subdued. That's not what we're used to with this side, and there is what we like to see. Smiles, energy, passion coming out of Astralis as they've got an opportunity to take the win here, Des. This could be the most important round of the Berlin Major for this side.
I think with the shenanigans put to one side, the clutch opportunities we've seen throughout the game, Astralis now have warmed into it. They look like the stronger, more convincing team, whereas Elevate, you're seeing players like Punch there. I've got to commend him for what was a wonderful play around 90. He threw the C4 at the window and pulled the trigger, and Forest made the perfect call. I'll swing him whilst he's still recovering from throwing the C4, whilst the animation's still coming out. But Punch read that perfectly, turns towards top 90 and kills Forest as he's coming round the corner. That read and that situational awareness is absolutely incredible.
Got the probability just reminding us there at the bottom, and the thing is, mentally, the players aren't going to be thinking about this too much. Elevate, they just want to win every game. They're here to prove a point, so it's irrelevant to them. But a regulation loss still leaves them at 90%. It's not the end of the world. But I tell you what, for Astralis, 31% looks a lot better than 8%, doesn't it? The difference between a regulation loss and win. They've already avoided that 8%. The worst it can be for them now is an 11% chance with an overtime loss, but they are not interested in that. They want their extra 20. They want to get within 2 points of Furia, and they want to do it here and now. They're going to be attacking, and they are looking to finish things off, and what a round to roll in on the back of. That last one was clinical.
Alrighty, let's see how things progress from this point. Sapper's on that pulse, and we saw Shuttle playing that back in the first half. It was a kill that wasn't picked up until the last 30 seconds or so, the pulse that is. Before that point, tons of information being fed back and forth, and it's been much the same here. A freebie onto the drone for Sapper as he backs away, expecting someone to chase him up. Right idea, as on that pantry window, someone was waiting.
Forest straight up the pantry stairs there. EMP grenade going in ahead of him to allow the Selma to detonate.
Pace,
and
what?
look at the over-aggression coming in as Sapper is able to peek around from the back of the bomb chassis. Gets a kill, but not only that, he drops the diffuser, and they know that they've got it there. They're going to start playing aggressively now. He can get that heartbeat scanner out and know if anybody is coming to collect the case.
I wonder if Sapper's got UMP or if he's playing with the shotgun here as well, because I'm not sure. He's sat with the pistol for the range, so it must be the shotgun to play up close. I'll take it, I guess. If you want to play up close as they come trying to push their way up those stairs, then sure, it's a fantastic gun to have at that range. But you've just seen the ping come through. They've got those wonderful yellow pings coming in to show exactly where he is. There he is. It is going to be the shotgun in hand. So they want the close range fights, ideally.
Shuttle just reacting now as he comes around the corner. Maybe, nerves kicking in here. It's getting close to a result that they really need. Takes the shot at the alibi decoy, and that's going to give his away his position briefly. But the droning is continuing from Iconic. He's spent a lot of time in those Twitch drones this round, just trying to give the positions to his team. He's given them to himself as he manages to find DCH. Mr. Punch continuing the challenges from Astro. He really needs to find himself a kill or get himself back to side here. He doesn't want to overstay his welcome, but Astralis, with a minute left to go, are taking
Punch.
damage. J9O, he is getting shots into him. Iconic taken down. Shuttle low health. They've got a problem here, Astralis.
It's the timing as well, right? I know you're down a man. You've got 50 seconds to play with. It feels like a lot of time, but that will move away unless someone pulls off something special. And really, eyes turn towards J9O. Playing on this Nook can move through relatively undetected and come for the backstab. But the thing is, Tim, we've still got that operator on the field that is the ultimate counter to the Nook. It's the pulse, that information that can be fed back and forth. Unless he stays off of the cardiac sensor, he'll know this is coming.
They've played this entire round based on that opening kill where they've put the case down on the ground,
no!
and it just gets worse and worse as the team kill comes in. Iconic was just running into the nade there. J9O, DP fire taken down. That's going to be the round, and that's going to be Elevate taking us into overtime. And Astralis' chance of qualifying from the group stage of the Berlin Major just took a very big hit.
A big, deep, steep nosedive, Tim, is the only way I can put it. And you saw Iconic's reaction. He knows how big a muck-up that was there, because in their world, that nut coming up could have been the difference maker. There was no cardiac sensor in hand, but the nade that was originally thrown to try and force the pulse away, or at the very least to do some damage, they just weren't aligned on the game plan there, and that will be one of those moments, again, they look at and say, boys, we cost ourselves there. They'll look back at the clutch rounds, boys, we cost ourselves there. There are probably now 5 rounds I can count that Astralis could have won, if not for losing out either clutch situations or for small mistakes they made themselves.
One issue I've got there, and I touched on it at the end of the round. Thatcher, the speed of the attack with diffuser in hand. That's a little bit of a problem for me. Not necessarily the first 2 elements of that. He's done his job. EMP grenade goes in, allows the Selma charge to detonate. He gets himself up pantry stairs. Maybe he gets himself a kill. Maybe he doesn't. It doesn't really matter. That's, you know, Thatcher's job is done. They've got the hole open that they wanted. But him having the diffuser in his hand and dropping it in that position, you saw exactly what happened. Sapper just sat on it for the entire round with the heartbeat scanner. They were never getting anywhere near it. And that is a big problem. That was a big, big problem within the first 30 seconds of the round there, and they just never had a solution to it. If that diffuser is in somebody else's hands, you know, if you're carrying the case, you can't go in like an entry straight into sight. You just can't do it.
Big extension coming out here from Elevate, where they've got some players playing upstairs, as you come to expect. They have gone back to the same site, by the way. Clearly felt that last defense was very comfortable and want to go for the same thing again. They've got some set up on the upstairs, but have also got a slight extension in towards Living and Library, where Onigiri has opened up a number of holes through the walls to give them access in towards the red corridor, so they can't have anyone pushing into Memorial. Also has his back covered off by those castle barricades, so although it's a lot lighter than the hole they've got on the upstairs, it's more ground that Astralis needs to take over.
Going to have Forrest working into the basement potentially there. He's opened up the wine barrel to give him access. He's on the book, and there's not going to be much that he can do from underneath in terms of verticality. He's going to have to move up the stairs at some point. What a kill from J9O, though, taking down Onigiri immediately. And that is a big start for Astralis here. They've got to be aiming now, Des, for that overtime win. If they want any hopes, it puts them 3 points behind Furia, if my memory serves, and that's not the end of the world coming in tomorrow. It's definitely doable. 4 points behind, you're then reliant on other results. It starts becoming really difficult, so Astralis need to find 2 rounds.
They're doing punch here, playing for the ultimate rat underneath the window ledge, daring someone to come vaulting in. But drones are flying through. In comes Forrest here, the side swipe onto DCH. Looks all too easy. Punch is now relocated, aware that actually the presence is coming in from the south, not from the window. 2 off towards the right-hand side, 2 down towards his south. If he goes undetected here, he could be the ultimate backstab, Tim.
I just feel like maybe Elevate have had a little bit of confidence, maybe a little bit of false confidence on this site, trying to defend dining and kitchen once again. Last time around, they got a big stroke of luck in the first 20-30 seconds, dropping the diffuser so close to site and being able to shift their defense around that. This time, they don't have the same joy. Forrest, you're sprinting up the stairs. You're not giving yourself any opportunity. How many times have we seen this from Astralis? They get themselves the advantage, and then they just allow it to be chipped away. We're now in a 2v2. Mr. Punch keeps going, 14-8. Sapper 13-10. If there's 2 that could be left, these are the 2 you don't want.
Timing! Punch on a massive 4K! And you're absolutely right, Tim. A 5v3 whittled down to a round loss. Can make it 6 rounds in my books now, Tim. The Astralis will say we could have won that. The thing is, boys, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but you have not. Elevate in the driving seat. They win this round, they take it in overtime, and Astralis' chances, they're thrown at the wall.
They're out the window at that point for me. You know, I think it will just be too big of an ask for them. Elevate, any win, let's remember that as well. Let's look on the positive side of things for Elevate. Any win will qualify them to the quarterfinals. So an overtime win here will do the job. They will be going through to the playoffs on Friday, to the live shows, and they will be the first representative, and they will be the first APAC representative competitive, and it's looking tricky for others to join them, but still possible. But the APAC region will have at least one team present.
And I know exactly who's going to want to cast that one, Tim.
I can't imagine.
Dev will be gagging.
Oh, he will be all over.
And I'm not a man to try and deny a man from casting an APAC team playing in a quarter-final either, if it comes down to that. But they're talking about it as well. Mr. Punch, fast from this one single game I've cast, one of the most impressive first-time performances I think I've seen of a player. For some, it takes a bit of time to warm in, but I think from Punch, the movements that he's made, the patience that he's shown, I referenced that play around 90 that for me was just chef's kiss, absolutely beautiful. That last round there as well, the movement across the top floor, the rotation downstairs, keeping Astralis guessing, all of it was just absolutely wonderful. And it's easy to like a player when they've gone 16-8, but I think it's the smarts and the patience and everything else that you're seeing that you would want to see in a true professional player. Mr. Punch has shown it in this game. What a player to watch.
Going to have the door opened up at range by the Book of Onagiri there. Elevate were pretty solid on the attack, generally speaking. It was 3-3 on their attacking half, so they're certainly not going to be scared of going in here and looking for kills. Jane, I know, getting aggressive on the Astro window, looking to just prevent that push from the north side. We know that Elevate are going to try and get themselves established inside of there. He's going to have Shuttle just rotating up to actually bolster that defence on that side. Now the information has come in to say, look, this is where the push is coming from. They've thrown numbers at it. I think there's 3 players for Astralis over that side now. They've got Forest supporting underneath as well on the pulse. There's a lot going on for Astralis on the north side of the map. They've got to make it pay. There's a Nitro here, but
it's not inside.
You got to know your map a bit better, Forest.
He'll be kicking himself a bit there. Really kicking himself. Like you said, you should know your maps. You should know there's a map there. You should know there's a wall there. You should know to double check a couple of different angles with that pulse scanner. Go slightly to the left, slightly to the right. Gauge, is he in or out? That's the kind of thing that can cost you. And right now, it's costing him hard. Sapper finds another kill for his team. Another 4 versus 3 for Elevate. Making a 4v2 as he almost lined up for the Jaeger coming as well. But relocated ever so slightly. Forest and DP fire to keep Astralis' hopes alive.
It feels like Astralis might know that this is over. Beautiful from Forest. Just making up for previous mistakes there. Getting a nice headshot onto DCH through the floor, but taking a lot of damage as well. Onagiri low health, but still the advantage sits with Elevate. DP fire all alone in sight. And I tell you what, if they move quickly here, Elevate could get themselves in a real position. They could hold down this site, get the kill,
and
have full control of it. That's it. Forest is moving back up. He's surely been spotted on the drone there. They must be aware of it and watching. In fact, so much so that he's actually rotated back underneath. He doesn't have a Nitro. His ability to do anything in the fights here is limited to just shooting through the soft floor.
Not too sure about this one. They get this kill onto DP5. This is done and dusted. Holding in behind bar, it's like holding off the hordes of a zombie invasion. 1 from the left, 2 from the right, as 1 steps into the room behind the pool table. Ducks down low, waiting for the fight to come through, but Sapper finds a massive 3K. What a round to make yourself heard. Forest, all that stands between Elevate and 2 points. They find it, and Elevate secure themselves a spot in the playoffs.
What a performance from Elevate. They took us all the way down to the wire. They didn't do it easily. Astralis kept fighting. They did everything they could to keep themselves in it. They're not out of things yet, but it just got a lot harder for them to think about playoffs, whereas Elevate, they are secured. They will be here on Friday. They will be playing in those live games.
Sapper and Punch both on 16 kills. What a performance. So much excitement around this Elevate roster, and now we're starting to see why. We'll go to a quick break. When we come back, some more chat about that game.
Mexico, Stockholm. I have so many memories. I had a front row seat to see Goga qualify G2 Esports for the final after an unbelievable performance.
On the best team in the world.
I was there in Tokoname, where Nello won a legendary round all by himself.
In the midst of a crossfire, gets one on the Diesel and a second one on Amaranth. Are you kidding me? The 1v4!
I was standing in that madding crowd at Montreal, stunned by the triumph of Space Station Gaming.
But it's home once again!
I was thrilled when Ninjas in Pajamas got its revenge in Paris.
Not bad.
Alamau in a 1v3 here. He makes the swing, he finds the headshot, and not just one.
I witnessed LMAO's demonstration in Mexico when he led Team 1 to a consecration against all odds. I was fortunate to see Damwon Kia making history in front of me in Yavle.
First Korean team who are progressing to the semi-finals.
But did I tell you I even saw as a nobody TSM FTX became the new world champions in Stockholm?
They have a rematch.
This is it. This is my major story. And as an official hardware partner of Rainbow Six Esports, I feel blessed to witness them for such a long time.
Welcome back, boys and girls. 8-6 to elevate over Astralis. We were saying at the start of that game, Tim, Astralis needed a result, otherwise their chances are basically dashed up the wall, and Elevate made sure to rip that away from them. Sapper missed the punch especially. Incredible game from those two.
Look at that summary down the middle and just how all over the place
it was amazing.
It was just 2-2, 1-1, back and forward. What a game we've just witnessed. Thoroughly enjoyable, Siege.
Absolutely. A lot of it really for me, again, coming down to those big clutch rounds that Astralis probably will argue we could have won those rounds. But boys, you can't win the clutch rounds. What do you got going for you? Let's take a look as well at how the group now stands up, because that is, of course, 2 points over go to Elevate and 1 to Astralis. Astralis still down there at the bottom, fighting it out with M&M for a chance to challenge Furia. But with only a couple of games left each, that's feeling really, really difficult. Elevate with that victory are qualified to the quarterfinals after what has been, again, another fantastic performance. Zero complaints about their group stage.
That's it. You know, now Furia really are the big winners out of that game. They've got to breathe in a sigh of relief that one went to overtime. Really cost Astralis those points. It's not going to be easy now. It is physically doable, yes, but unlikely, I think.
Well, they've got to get a win. They've got to get 4 points to even be able to contest.
I think Astralis tomorrow play M&M and Furia, so basically they've got to win both to have any hopes, but then they've got to rely on Furia losing elsewhere as well.
5 points to guarantee it, but like you say, anything for Furia, and they basically cement it in. Either way, it's looking very unlikely for the British side and the North American side. Again, bizarre that a Charlotte Major finalist team might not be here for even the playoffs.
Yep, absolutely crazy stuff, but that's what we've seen in the group stage so far. I, for one, love to see different teams making it through. Elevate, you know, congratulations to them. They, for me, have been one of the most entertaining sides, so I'm happy to have them in the quarterfinals first. That's one name that I wanted on there.
Yeah, I'm genuinely surprised, but also not disappointed. Can't wait to see what more they do. We've got still 2 more games for them to come tomorrow, of course, but the quarterfinal now is where they turn their attentions. The games tomorrow now, more for a bit of pride to really rack those points up on the board. We'll go to a break, and when we come back, the games continue here on the A stream, so don't go anywhere. See you soon.